The story of the smart child rarely begins with a struggle. In fact, it almost always begins with the opposite. It begins with a realization, one shared by every adult in the room except the child themselves. This child is different. They don't need the repetition. They don't need the trial and error. While other kids are still learning to hold the pen, the smart child is already writing the story. But school rewards outcomes, not the process. And when success comes without effort, the brain learns a dangerous rule. Effort is for people who aren't good enough.
So you do know the difference!
Slowly, intelligence stops being something you do and starts being something you are. You weren't a child who worked hard, you were a child who was gifted. And that gift? It was a trap. This is the psychology of the smart child. Most people think of a mindset as something you choose, but for the smart child, it's an installation, a set of invisible mirrors arranged so carefully around your ego that everywhere you look, every classroom, every test, every conversation, you see the same reflection, the one who already knows. You learned very early that your value was tied to your ease. If you had to work for something, it was suspicious. It meant the magic was fading. So you became a master of the shorthand, the quick grasp, the witty observation. But beneath the shorthand, the foundation stayed hollow. Because a foundation is built from the grit of being wrong, being slow, and being bad at something long enough to actually learn it.
First time?
Yeah, you?
No, not my first time.
But you? You were too busy being flawless to build one. I want to tell you about a girl. She was the one the teachers called on when no one else had the answer. She was the one used, carefully, like evidence that her parents had done something right. She was 13 when she stopped raising her hand in a class she didn't already know the answer to. Not because she lost interest, but because she had learned that the role of the smart one required certainty. She started curating her life. She only entered conversations she could win. She only attempted things where she was confident the outcome would confirm the image. She got very good at looking busy without producing anything that could be judged. Very good at being about to do something brilliant. The idea always imminent, the execution always pending. She was waiting for a guarantee she was never going to get. Then, the world stops being a classroom. In school, the rules were clear. There was one right answer, and whoever got there first won. But the real world doesn't care how fast you can solve a problem in your head. The real world rewards endurance. Suddenly, you're failing, miserably. You're 25 or 30, and you're struggling to build a career, to maintain a relationship, to just show up. But because you were the smart child, you don't think there's a problem with your process. You think there's a problem with the world. You think, I was fine until now. I'm the same person who topped the rankings. Why isn't it working? And then comes the most painful part. You look at the kids who used to struggle, the Toyota Camrys of your childhood, the ones who spent 3 hours on a math problem while you finished it in 10 minutes. They are thriving. They have the money, they have the girls, they have the discipline that you never had to build. You feel a cold, sharp bitterness. You think you deserve more than them. You think your IQ is a VIP pass to the front of the line. But while you're standing at the back of the line complaining about the wait, they are the ones building the club. In your mind, success is a zero-sum game. You still think there is only one top spot on the leaderboard. If he gets the promotion, you lose. If he gets the beautiful girl, she's been taken from your tally. This leads to a crippling anxiety. Every time someone else wins, you feel like you are disappearing. You stay perfectly, safely unbegun. Because as long as you don't try, you can still tell yourself you're better than them. Back to that girl. She was 22 when she finally failed at something she had genuinely tried for. Not a safe bet. Something she actually wanted. It didn't work, and she sat with that failure for a long time.
Is she dead?
I think she's dead.
But in that silence, she noticed something strange. She was still here. The failure had not unmade her. The image had cracked, and the world had not ended. The people who mattered had not looked at her differently. She realized, I thought the failure would break me. It didn't. What it broke was the idea that I needed the guarantee to begin. To fix this, you have to do the one thing the smart child fears most. You have to kill the ego. You have to admit that your IQ is not enough. You have to admit that you are an absolute beginner at the things that actually matter. Discipline, consistency, and resilience. In life, unlike school, there are infinite ways to win. Someone else's success is not a depletion of yours. The world has endless possibilities, but they are only available to those who are willing to be bad at something for a very long time. You never failed growing up, so you don't know how to recover. You think failure is the end of the road. It isn't. Failure is just the friction required to create heat. The file on your potential is not closed, but it is time to stop looking at the reflection in the mirror and start looking through the glass of the window. The smart child identity was a childhood
Nobody likes a
adaptation.
smartass.
It helped you survive the classroom, but it is killing your adulthood. Trade your shield of intelligence for the sword of curiosity. Go into rooms where you are the least knowledgeable person. Ask the stupid questions. Be the one who works the hardest because they know they have the most to learn. The gold star is gone.
You okay?
Thank God for that. Because now, for the first time in your life, you don't have to be impressive. You just have to be real. Go build something. Finally.